Good morning. This is WXON, Detroit, Michigan, beginning another day of scheduled telecasting.
Yes, sir, we promised you a great main event here tonight.
Andre, the China WrestleMania!
Hulkamania is running wild.
My God, what a run! It's not the world is watching.
Good Tuesday evening, everybody. It is Etep here with Tony. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Let me welcome this wonderful chat. Oh, my God. I see Eric Louderback, Coach Loudy in the chat. Oh, shit. Just for him. Just for him, I'll show my beautiful face. Hi, Loudy.
Coach Loudy. What up, bro?
We miss you. We miss you. Coach Loudy used to have this segment. I don't know if you even remember that, Tony.
I do.
You remember the Mjolnir segment he used to do on Monday night? Oh, that's going way back in the archives. Who's worthy of Mjolnir? Oh my God. Yeah, welcome, man. Good to see you in the chat, brother. Good to see you, my man. Super fan, you've got a link in the group chat, bro. Action Man Gaming, hail. That is a new name. Oh, hi, Mark. I don't have that GIF on here. But I do have a Hulk Hogan one that will play at some point. Action Man Gaming says it's a reference to the movie The Room. Fuck it, I'm gonna upload it on here. So what's going on, Tony? What's up, man?
Not much. Just a uneventful Tuesday. Went ahead and took the day off because I've been, burning it at both ends lately. And yeah, like and I'll break it to the chat. I slept 10 hours last night, which is a rarity for me. I'm usually one of those 6 hours and I'm good to go all day type of people. Try to model myself after a certain former president who kept the press working nonstop, and they would write and complain about it. But yeah, dude, I felt so weird waking up this morning, like getting that much sleep. Like I feel like I had an outer body experience almost.
I normally on Tuesday nights, you know me, I'm radio silent after about 8 Eastern, sometimes a little bit later. That's only if it's a good episode of Nitro, you know that. Tuesday night's normally my night off. I'm in bed by this time, but the wife and I watched a movie tonight, and because we had a Room reference, I'll play it, and Loudy said it. Oh, hi, Mark.
What a story, Mark.
There we go. And just for a bonus one, we've got the old clip of Trey.
Lisa, you're tearing me apart. Everyone betrayed me. I don't like this world.
There we go. There's some room. There's some room. Hail brutal Morningwood. That's a good looking dome. It's It's all freshly polished up too, man. It's all polished up. It's like I said, it's fucking cold down here. I ain't wearing this shit to be cute. It's fucking cold. But so I watched Where the Crawdads
Where the
Sing.
wild Jews are. Oh.
Hoy, where there's wildling Jews, you gotta watch out for them, bud. They're running around fucking losing Asian wives and shit.
Anyway. God.
Old cookie post fella.
No, but I watched Where the Crawdads Sing tonight, and the only thing I knew about that movie before we actually looked up what it was about on the show was just seeing it in the box office and just joking about the name of it. And
Yeah.
it was at my theater for like a couple weeks, and I was like, I'm not going to see that in the theater. And I watched it tonight with the wife, and she suggested either that or, have you ever heard of the movie Mother with Jennifer Lawrence?
I heard it. I remember it being like extremely graphic for some reason, but I hadn't seen it.
Okay.
Like something happens, and I remember there was a very controversial scene that a bunch of conservatives virtue signaled over, maybe for good reason.
Did you ever hear the bullshitters talk about how bad it was? Because it was fucking terrible.
I think so.
Like,
Because that's
okay,
that's all I've heard of it is other people talking about it.
I fucking I watched it. Nick, like personally, we were talking about it because the Jennifer Lawrence thing. You know, she's in it. I think it's her and Liev Schreiber that was the. I tried to mentally block this movie out. I watched it. It was on like TNT or something during the day, or FX maybe, when I was editing a video.
Watch that uncensored. Can't be on
Dude,
TNT.
It or FX. It was bad. Just watching it visually, like that. It threw me. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? It wasn't like where I watched Sleepaway Camp and I was like, ha ha. You know, I don't want to spoil. Have you seen Sleepaway Camp?
No.
Okay,
No,
I won't.
no.
You need to watch it. It's it's actually kind of funny, and it's an insane movie. Hail Brutal. Superfan asks who's worthy of Mjolnir. Loudy, if you're still listening, just put it in the chat, brother. Who's worthy of Mjolnir? I'm sure there's no shortage of candidates now.
Well, I'll tell you who's not worthy of Mjolnir. Jennifer Lawrence.
She's already wielded the hammer of Harvey Weinstein.
Yes. Yes.
St.
It's the
Floyd
only
says,
hammer she's worthy of.
and that's a small hammer. It's like a ball peen hammer. St. Floyd of Fentanyl says, time to get pistol whipped, baby. No more M-bombs around the white people, I promise. Praise be the Fent. Thank you. That's the only reason. That's the only reason you got timed out last night. Was, man, look, I'm all for the joke. I'm all for the gimmick. Just there's some lines that we don't cross. You know what I mean? And for the sake of the channel and everything, you know. I mean, if it wasn't up to YouTube, look, and you want to say it, I don't really give a fuck. But honestly, I can't. You know, I feel. Tony, isn't that a bitch? To have to fucking do that. Like, I honestly hated doing that. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I was telling my dog to shut up. What was that?
About St. Floyd of Fentanyl promised no more N-bombs around the white people because he dropped it in the chat last night and he got timed out for it. And I said, I hate having to say, I hate having to say, hey, man, you know, I hate it. I fucking hate having to send, because to me, I don't give a fuck. It's just, I'm not saying it's just a word, but
let me exactly. White people, calm down. It's just a word.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see other ethnicities getting offended over words like that, but white people, damn it.
All right, man. Cool. Just didn't want there to be any hard feelings because I dig the fucking gimmick. I do. Etep. No, I didn't. It's fucking. Well, I mean, look. It's the lighting in here. I've got the lighting. The lighting's different, so it's not looking as shiny today. All right, fucker. No, I did send. I gotta pull that story up I sent you in our chat, Tony. Because that shit's funny. Did you get a chance to look at that? Actually, what?
I did, and it's just more. Yeah, look, racism is running rampant on social media and in America, but it ain't the people getting called racist. It's not the Trump supporters and the conservatives. It's the people that see a bunch of black guys claiming a rent-a-bike as theirs and pushing a pregnant hospital worker off of it and having that entire crowd call her a Karen. Those are the racists. The racists are the ones that piled on the lady in this story and, oh, well, she must be racist. Stop Asian hate. When it's like, I am Asian. You know, it's that's where the racism is. And it's beyond racism. Number one, it is ignorant. It's definitely ignorant, but it's a bunch of know-nothing morons with no perspective, no life, no purpose, sitting on social media ready to cast the stone at everyone else. So, yeah. People get a life. That's the point.
Yeah, and that's it too. I just saw a story. Now, okay, let me preface this entire thing, but this isn't the story I'm going to share, but this is another one I saw on this Newsbreak app I have. Now, it was out of Alabama, so I guess like our old buddy Doomcock says,
Let's just take this with a grain of proverbial salt.
And no, I'm not really Doomcock.
Even though I don't need a modulator to do this.
No, but there was another alleged, hate crime, and it's just I'm like, come on, like, and it was something so minute, but let me pull this up here and share this. This is the story I shared with you. TikTok reacts to news that racist woman who attacked Asian family during road rage incident in California is actually part Asian herself.
It kills me that these people don't realize 90% of the world is assholes. It don't always have to do with race. But because there was an issue with one woman and then another person or family who happen to be a certain race, they make it all about race. That's racist. That is racist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see. Yeah, let's watch it. Why isn't it letting me click? Hang on. That did not go to the video it was supposed to. What a bunch of cocksuckers.
Wonderful.
I don't fuck with TikTok, man.
Yeah, live TV, man. You never know what could happen.
Life finds a way to fuck me. Let's see. So I don't really think we need to preface this much. We've already got the gal's name that is apparently the racist is Ashley Barkus. She's 25 years old. So here it is right here. Where's your insurance? You hit my car. I don't give a fuck about this bitch, Barkus yells. You hit my car. Where's your insurance? Where's your insurance? Do you have a driver's license? Are you from America? Do you even have papers? Are you legal to be here?
And now here's all the white liberal women on Twitter who constantly tell you to stay out of black people's business because you can't understand what it's like to be a black person getting in Asian people's business, right?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, that seems about right. it seems about right for the circumstances. I mean, isn't that the way it usually happens? Like, the white leftist females are usually the ones that get outraged first.
Yep, and then they end up making asses of themselves by doing the same thing and proving they're just projecting.
And that's usually the case, is it's all internalized projection by these weirdos. You know, and we see it time and time again, and yet when we call it out, we're just bigots. And it's like, no, what you're doing is gaslighting. Like, and that's what I mean. What would you say the percentage of actual news that is on cable media now that is like gaslighting would be? About what, 98% of it is gaslighting and fear mongering and just divisiveness. Divisiveness? Is it divisiveness or divisiveness?
It was divisiveness until 3 weeks ago, and they changed it to divisiveness.
I figured as much. Did it identify as divisiveness? Is that what happened?
Basically, yeah, the same way that laissez-faire identified as laissez-faire one day because 3 people in the media started. That's one thing weird about lefties. They always find a new way to pronounce a word. It's not Kim Basinger, it's Kim Bothinger. And then everyone just jumps on the hype train, you know? So, yeah, I was actually thinking that the other day. I was listening to a liberal hive mind video, and he was all, and this is very divisive. And I'm like, not you two. It's divisive.
Okay,
like,
so
tomato,
it's not just me.
Tomato, but yeah, humans get these weird trends where they decide to pronounce things differently out of nowhere.
So how do you say? Do you say laissez-faire or?
So the French way, if you speak French, you know it's laissez-faire. That's how it's pronounced. But one day, Don Lemon started, it's a very laissez-faire. And, yeah, spread like a wildfire.
It's not a term that I use that often, laissez-faire. It's really not. But I've always heard it pronounced laissez-faire. But I don't.
Dong Quran, said Parrot. Said Parrot Head.
Dong. The Dong Karens. That's a very American pronunciation of it. No, I don't, but I don't use it that much. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the last time I actually heard it pronounced correctly, I couldn't tell you.
Do you mind if I share something real quick?
No, by all means, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, I just want to let you know that he was very much invited to be here. But this is what Draven's doing right now. He decided, I'm not going to join this wonderful Tuesday stream. I'm going to stream against them playing my Star Wars.
Wait, hang on. Keep that up.
So I need y'all to go open another window on your computer if you're on one and blow this very laissez-faire vampire up, if you would. Tell him what man.
That's what I'm saying right now in the chat. I'm like, really? I just said, really?
we're gonna be sharing this so we can, get views off of his gameplay.
Let's play with Dre.
This Star Wars movie sucks.
Yeah, this is not a good movie. Glinzer says, all right, let me highlight Glinzer's comment here.
Yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres, pronounced hors d'oeuvres, except by Fred Sandwich, who found it. Horse divers. Yes.
Yeah. That's coming to CNN soon.
Brutal says soon it'll be El Zayfair. He's not wrong. JB, what's up, my man? Hail.
What up, JB?
Glinzer says Draven's been streaming for about 80 minutes. I glance at it now and then.
Yeah. See, my problem is I try to jump in there and watch. It's hard for me to sit there and watch someone else play, but while I'm playing a game, I'll be like, all right, let's jump on Draven's stream for a bit, but he doesn't talk, so it's like you have to watch it. So I eventually, move over to someone who's talking. It's bad.
Wait, I want him to highlight my comment. I said the cojones on this effing guy, and I spelled cojones wrong because I'm stoned. I didn't use a J like a fucking jackass. J for jackass.
Let's see how long it takes him to notice all these fucking comments. It goes from like 3 comments in an hour. He's getting blown.
He says, I didn't know you were streaming. We didn't plan on it. We're just fucking with you, man.
I called him a vampiric puto.
God damn it. He says, Paradox says, get your undead arse over there.
Smuggler's Tunnels, just in time for Pride Month, Draven. Good job.
He's not even waiting until June 1st.
I said on Tommy's stream the other day, I'm like, to my guinea pigs, please think of our gerbil brothers as we enter Pride Month. Oh,
There's
speak
Tommy.
of the devil.
I heard you guys were having a little fun over here. You were having a gas, and who decided to stop in and join in the festivities with me? I love throwing little parches around for people. Dude, suck up and enjoy. How you doing, gentlemen?
Oh, man, good. Welcome, brother. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Did you find your spring, the plastic spring? Or whatever?
Yes, I did. And it was in the oddest place possible. So I started thinking about, okay, when I do BattleBot fights, parts go flying everywhere. And the one time I spent 2 weeks looking for a part for one of them. And I was like, what is the most ridiculous spot to look for this part? So I looked all the way over by my kitchen sink, and there it was.
You gotta love it. One time when I was cleaning pools and repairing pools, and we had to take a motor apart, and I put the bolts in my back pocket. I know I did. So then when it was time to seal everything back up, I couldn't find them in there. I was searching my back pocket. I could not find them. And we were there for like an hour and a half.
This guy. I'm literally on my stream, in your stream, and I was listening to the audio of your guys' stream. But I'm not in StreamYards. I'm in Streamlabs. Streaming through that.
You know, Draven, it's not a good thing to do. You're not being a good boy by streaming his stream while you're on his stream in another stream.
Well, I'm not showing it.
Good.
I'm not showing his stream.
No,
That's in stream shit.
I've heard
it
you
is
show
in stream
a lot of
shit.
things when nobody's looking, you strange bastard.
Fucking A. I didn't even realize you guys were going to do something today, or I wouldn't
We weren't even really planning on it. It just kind of happened.
Gotcha.
No, I'm not downing on the game at all. I'm really not. Like, from what I hear, it's a really good game. But, I mean, you gotta admit, that's a little homoerotic, Smuggler's Tunnels.
Well, there's a bunch of smugglers.
They prefer to be called happy people. Not
Well, just make sure whenever you go exploring, you only go in the clean tunnels, Tony. Don't go in those brown ones.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah, stay away from the chocolate tunnels. They were eating Indian food.
Now, isn't there really a Hershey Highway out in PA, Draven?
There is, yes. It's right beside Hershey Park.
Yeah, so you guys stay out of the brown tunnels. Me and Draven will be over here on Hershey Highway. What up, Tina? Hope you're having a great evening.
Hey, Tina Bojan.
She joined at the right time.
Right?
Yeah, she did.
Always talking about butt stuff. You can tell Loudy's in the chat. Butt stuff came up. I promised some Hulk Hogan though. Are you guys ready for some Hulk Hogan?
Sure.
Some old school Hulk Hogan. Here we go.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yes, sir, Daddy. This is the Incredible Hulk Hogan. And if you're looking for the greatest in wrestling action, the superstars of wrestling, this is the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the #1 federation in all the world. If you want to see me hanging and banging every week, if you want to see Hulkamania running wild, well, tune in right here each and every week, because what you gonna do when the Hulkster runs wild on you?
You've got a ringside seat Saturday at 7 on Channel 2.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of odd. Did he not know his lines? Because by then it wasn't the Worldwide Federation anymore.
I was gonna say, did anybody else catch that?
Well, you got to understand, it's the New World Organization of Wrestling, brothers.
Well, you know something, brothers. It's the New World Organization. No, Hulk. Can we do it again, brother? No, we're live, pal.
You know, they struggled with that for at least 3 years after they went to WWF. Like,
he was like, what, brother? I don't see any difference in the people I'm selling to in the locker room. How is this different?
Well, wasn't he in TNA by that point when they switched over? Or I'm thinking of when they got the F out or whatever.
No, yeah. They used to be the WWF, and WCW was WCCW.
Yep, it was World Class Championship Wrestling, and WWF was Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, it changed the minute Vince Jr. Bought it out.
Yeah. Vince Sr. actually fired Hogan for starring in the Rocky movie and said he'd never work up north again. And then Vince bought everything and said, "You're going to be my star, pal."
Hey, pal, why don't you come here and sit on Vince's lap?
Which it's a good thing for Hogan, too, because he ended up going to, the AWA after that, and Vern Gagne didn't like him either.
Yeah. No, Gagne did not like Hulk at all. He said Hogan didn't know a wrist lock from a wrist watch.
Yeah.
He didn't. Vern didn't like Hulk because Vern was like a purist, to the business. Like he rejected the. It's funny saying the modernity of Hogan's style at the time, but I mean, apparently having to only employ 5 moves in that time. But I mean, look at honestly, like I know we joke around about Hogan and then Cena and kind of to a lesser extent Roman, but I was gonna say to a lesser extent The Rock, even because I've heard that about The Rock. He had a certain amount of moves, but The Rock utilized them very effectively, like Hogan did. The Rock could go above and beyond when he had to. But so could Hogan, and he just didn't have to.
You mix in their the promo skills and all that shit, and like even though the Hulk, his promo skills are kind of hit or miss, you add all that whole package together, and that's basically what you get. A lot of the guys now, they're lucky if they can fucking do one or the other. Like they're either really good at one and terrible at everything else, or
Well, I think that was
one
of the things about Hogan, though, Draven. It wasn't so much his mic skills and wasn't just his look. It was the aura that he brought to everything that he did. So he had that charisma, whether he was cutting a good promo or not. I mean, people were interested and they were tuning in at the time. So,
yeah, it's that certain charisma where you're just, like Tommy was saying, that aura, or even Draven, the whole package where you're just like, wow. Hulk Hogan is 30 feet away from me, so it doesn't matter if he only does 5 moves or calls it Worldwide Wrestling Federation or anything. It's that star power that some people are able to exhume, and others aren't, That's a big thing. Same thing with Cena. It's like, I don't care if he's doing a few moves. Cena's here in my town, and he's out there wrestling and doing the whole shtick and the music. And man, I remember seeing Stone Cold for the first time. That was exciting. That was exciting.
It was nice.
And that was one I wasn't gonna bring him up yet, but yeah, Austin was Hogan had Hogan had more of a slow burn. you know, I would say then, well, Austin kind of did too, though, if you really think about it, because he came out of nowhere. I mean, out of nowhere, quote unquote, but he was always there. You know what I mean?
I think Etep, the big thing with Austin is he didn't really find his footing until he got totally screwed over by WCW, and that's where he really just let his real personality out, and then he found out that that's what people wanted. They wanted to see the real him.
He had to get mad.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, you know, it really speaks to him as both a person and a performer, the way he channeled that and turned it into what was arguably one of the best, if not unfortunately the shortest of like the major runs of anybody in professional wrestling, at least in the last 45 years at least, I would say.
Burned hotter than Hogan, but because of that unfortunate accident in SummerSlam 97,
fucking Owen Hart.
Which I'm literally watching the Raw before that SummerSlam, and I'm just like, he's in a tag match with Dude Love against the I can't remember, the Godwins.
I was
gonna say the Hillbillies. And it's like, man, if you guys only knew what's happening like 6 days from now, and it really sucks because he was only in the business for like 8 or 9 years before that happened. I mean, he would have wrestled well into the 2000s, or at least he would have had the capacity to.
Yeah, whether he did or not would have been up to him entirely if he was healthy.
But
you know,
he was. You could say, well, Hogan was part of the mainstream cultural zeitgeist, but Austin definitely. You saw Austin 316 shirts effing everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere. And in NWO shirts and DX tops.
One of the things I think is like completely overlooked about Austin, whether you love him or hate him, I mean, he had those moments early in his career. I was kind of like, I mean, he's all right, but I wasn't really completely sold. But he's actually the one that made it cool for the anti-hero to actually be in a wrestling promotion. Because back then, it was the good guys and there was bad guys. There was no middle road. He's the one that made it cool to be the anti-hero.
Yep. And he did it well. And then he perfected it. He really did. And it worked for him because you were supposed to boo him at first. And then it's like, no, I'm not booing this guy. This guy's fucking awesome. You know, because once it hit,
he was anti-establishment too.
Yeah.
Well, come the 90s, and they put him up against Bret Hart, who was the white meat babyface, much like Hogan. But meanwhile, Hogan was turning heel in WCW. He acted different in a lot of ways, but a lot of ways he was still Hogan. But like, I think the point is, by the time the late 90s hit, what was once considered the babyface was now kind of considered arrogant and full of themselves and kind of heelish. And then Austin, how Hogan was the perfect answer to a baby face in the 80s, Austin was the perfect answer to a baby face in the 90s. More that, you know, Punisher type, just like badass anti-hero. I mean, that's where society was. I miss it too.
Yeah, we were much better when we had outlaws. You know, Parrothead, in your wrestling organization, were you at Hogan or the Rocks? I mean, okay, so if I understand you're speaking by comparison levels, like where I was at would have been akin to the level they were at in their respective, which was the WWF. Not really. I mean, by comparison only, and not me saying I'm at that. No, but I do know more than 5 moves. No, I was more, like I said, I was more like the Hall or the Nash type. I kind of like I spearheaded the gimmick when I switched us to the black and white and basically being like an NWO tribute stable. That was my idea to do that for marketing, and I knew the fans would eat it up. But I was never, I was out in front at first, but I didn't really want to be because they needed me to be the mouthpiece until I started wrestling. But I had me and my tag partner, I can't take all the credit for it, handpicked a younger guy who was like 10 years younger than us to come in to basically, you know, for lack of a better term, groom him to be the heavyweight champion. And then we would have the tag belts, he would have the world title, and we'd have this younger guy we could build the future of the stable around, you know. But my run got cut short and I retired. But I mean, like I said, I was, you know, back, you know, behind the scenes. I mean, I wasn't a book or anything at the end, but I mean, creatively, I did have a lot of control over what we did. As far as being in the main event level, yeah, we were the tag team. We were always booked either main or semi-main. A lot of times on one taping we would be main event, and then others we would be like we would do like singles matches depending on what the storyline called for at the time. But when we were working like our tag matches, we were always main or semi-main. But yeah, that was because I came in hot. Like the first night I was in the company, I got one of the guys in our stable like won the world title, and I was managing. It's like but no, in 2016 it was kind of funny because it was like my 8th or 9th year in the business. I got Rookie of the Year and Manager of the Year for IWE. And it was just kind of funny. I'm like 8 years in, I get Rookie of the Year. I'm like, all right, you know, the journeyman, 36 at the time. But no, so
Manliness over here in my chat was like, I remember Mark Callis before he became the Undertaker, and then the other one was did Austin do the rigging or Owen for Owen?
Austin did it. No, I remember watching Undertaker wrestle as Mean Mark Callis in like it was still NWA or was it WCW? I can't remember when he first came in. Maybe it was it changed to WCW at that point.
I just remember the Undertaker.
I do.
Yeah, same.
I do because I have a pay-per-view with him on it. A fucking match he wrestled as Mean Mark. It might have been a tag match with Dan Spivey. But as the he was one of the skyscrapers because Sid got hurt and they brought him in to replace Sid. But yeah, that's when it was. What up, Silicone Dave? Hello. Hail. Yeah, dude, Hulkamania was everywhere. Like, it was. I mean, who do you guys think is the bigger star overall, Hogan or Cena? Like, just in the history of, I would say, the Fed. I mean, which one, objectively speaking, I mean, I'm not a huge Cena fan. I mean, I respect the guys.
He wrestled more matches, and he was able to transition into Hollywood. And like Hogan couldn't transition into Hollywood, but it's hard to say because Hogan was like the first, you know, when he made it possible for there to be a Cena. But
yep,
I still think Hogan did more for the business.
Oh yeah,
he paved a lot of roads.
He did, and he also, I mean, think about the steroid trials. You know?
I know.
I mean,
I know.
Dude, everything that guy has been through, and I mean, look, is Hulk Hogan the best person on earth? No. I mean, the dude is obviously very, very, very fucking flawed. But, I mean, from my perspective as somebody who has a lot of fucking flaws, I mean, should you forgive somebody like him? I mean, in my opinion, at this point, yeah. You know?
He's not evil.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, I think he has a tendency to try to come off like things. He's doing it like it's a work when it's you know, it's in all honesty, he's in a shoot situation, but the lines are blurred for him. I'll guarantee fucking. Do you remember the trial when he was talking about, oh, Terry Bollea doesn't have a fucking 9-inch cock, but Hulk Hogan does? I mean, do you remember that shit?
Yeah. Well, we give Undertaker credit for becoming one with his gimmick, but Hogan did too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hogan was Bollea, and Bollea was Hogan. I mean,
yep.
No, my bad. I was changing
the
subject.
No, I was just gonna say he wore a do-rag in court.
Yeah.
The motherfucker wore, and they let him do it.
Mm-hmm.
The judge was like, can you see him? You're gonna have to take that off. Hogan goes to the judge. That ain't gonna work for me, brother. That ain't gonna work for me, brother. Hulk doesn't take the rag off until it's go time. It's like, just wear it.
Do you mind me commenting on JB's comment there about DDP? Because I could go on forever about this. Number one of the best matches I've seen live, and I'll say to this day was Goldberg's best match ever, was DDP and Goldberg at Halloween Havoc 1998. Like, that was a crazy, crazy match. And if not knowing the wrestling business and knowing chances are they were going to hold out on Goldberg till Starrcade. And then keep in mind, this is right after Hogan Warrior 2 as well, the match after. And it sucks because most people didn't see this match till the next night on Nitro.
Nope.
It was the infamous pay-per-view that cut off early. And it sucks because this match had me out of my seat in the MGM Grand Garden Arena. And if I could go back and revise history, I would have saved this match. I would have had Nash versus Goldberg at Halloween Havoc. And I would have had DDP, because another regret is when they finally made DDP world champion, they made him champion as a heel when he was white fucking hot. Yeah, I would have had DDP defeat Goldberg clean at Starrcade 1998 and then never brought the NWO Elite together or any of that crap. And could you imagine DDP and Bret Hart feuding for that title through the beginning of 1998?
Dude, maybe that would have salvaged Bret Hart.
Yeah, and then you could have, elevated Steiner and Booker T and Jarrett and had DDP.
Yep.
And that could have been a very thriving company.
You know how I feel about the NWO.
Yeah.
I mean, I make no bones about it. They should have killed that. It should have died. They never should have done anything past, because they didn't handle it right. They never got a proper fuse between the Wolfpack.
Let's have everybody in this stable, and then they fucking split it, and then basically did what they should have done without having another NWO fucking faction.
And that screwed Page over because that took up the top spots, and it pushed him out.
And he really was, The Rock called himself the People's Champion and ended up being the bigger star, but Page was the People's Champion.
Manliness was after Andre died, I lost my real love for wrestling, so I don't really have much emotions for the Attitude Era. And then he's like, I guess as far as Mark Callis, he was teamed with Sid, but can't remember what promotion. Hogan got mentioned in Congress as long as the road wasn't so black, or into the black part of town. He says, "Who is the worst booker, Vince or Khan?"
Vince has booked some pretty great things in his day.
He did. You can't see, and Tony, we've had this discussion before. You can't look at Vince McMahon just for what he's done recently, but you have to look at his entire body, as you do with anyone.
Yeah.
And this goes for Chris Benoit as well. You can separate the art from the artist and say his accomplishments inside the ring, and that goes for Vince inside the business. We wouldn't have wrestling had it not been for Vince way back. I mean, did he gobble up the territories? Yes. Did he buy WCW something, which I'll never forgive him for personally, but WCW kind of fucked themselves. So, I mean, its memory's still alive. We still get to watch all the old shows and everything. And why is that? Who's that because of? The business dealings of? Fucking Vince.
Yep.
I guarantee if WCW was thriving, if they were still a thriving business making money, the AOL execs would be like, okay, I don't understand it, but it's bringing in $60 million a year.
Yep.
For keeping it around.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. It was a huge expense by the time they took over.
They were losing they lose $200 million. I told you guys about some of the contracts. The lower card guys were making $275,000 a year and losing money on merchandise.
Yep. I know. That's why it's what worries me about AEW at times. Is it as ludicrous as WCW was at the end? No. No, but one thing they do share is, and WWF is this way too. I'm not singling AEW out. WWF is definitely this way, but they have a solid foundation that they can at least rely on and lean on. AEW, not as much. But they have all the ingredients, just like WCW, to truly make something great. But they need to put it together the right way. And, like, honestly, I feel like, when was Vince, honest to God, the head creative guy in his company? Not often. He usually had Jim Cornette or Vince Russo or someone doing the booking.
Those two worked in tandem a lot.
Go through him. And yeah, that's what Tony Khan needs to do. He needs to be the filter. It doesn't get on TV without his approval and whatnot, but he needs to have some other people because he's running himself rampant, working the gorilla position, being the pin. Now he's adding a new show on. It's like, get some. You don't have to have a whole creative team. Like, I think wrestling went downhill with a whole creative team, but have one or two guys developing storylines
per show,
pinning out, this is where we want to be a year from now. Now, how do we get there?
But he's also, if he's got those people around him, that's great, Tony. But Khan's also got to have people that are willing to tell him no.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've got to be willing. You can't be worried about hurting his fucking feelings. You've got to be like, Tony, this isn't personal. This is business. And we're going to tell you that this is not good for fucking business.
Well, I hate to say it, but AEW is conditioned not only themselves, but like their fans too, to where if there's any criticism for AEW, they chalk it up as talk. And this is like not just this.
No, it's everything.
Everything is too. Where if there's any criticism, it's toxic. And it's like, no, we love this. And even with the Fed, like, I love WWE. I want it to be better because when all ships rise, you know, the wrestling business is doing good at that point. And like, they just chalk it up to us being toxic. It's like, no, we just want a better product. That way everybody can enjoy, even the casual people can come in and enjoy it. And it transcends not just the wrestling business, but, you know, pop culture in itself, like it used to back in the day.
Well, it's kind of like my buddy was saying to me a year ago when I was telling him, man, this Roman Reigns stuff, him and Brock at WrestleMania isn't really working for me. The bloodline isn't as intriguing as you keep telling me. He's like, well, that's not really fair to say because I've been watching, so I know what's going on. You just started watching. It's like, I don't want to hear that. Like, that. There are times in wrestling where you never had to see a show in your life.
Yep.
And you tune in at one point because your friend is watching or something, and it is so exciting that it becomes appointment viewing. Next thing you know, you're watching every single week. That's what good wrestling is.
Yeah. Well, good wrestling back in the day too, Tony, was something. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm back. Was something that, you know, more than likely, if you had a family that was into that, they're the ones that actually kept you watching too. Because my mother was huge into wrestling. She was a wrestling fan from like before I was born. She had pictures with God damn it, who was it? Like Johnny B. Bad or something like that. She met Blackjack Morgan. She met Andre the Giant. Awesome. She met a whole bunch of those people, and she would be there every pay-per-view too. When they used to have the pay-per-views that you would have to purchase off of God, who was it at the time? I know we had, I think it was Comcast that we had, and they had the pay-per-views through Comcast. So yeah, when there was a pay-per-view, we'd all get together for that. Some of my friends who were into wrestling would come over, and we would just have like a big sit-down party watching this stuff, order pizzas and all that stuff. So I mean, it was like a big event back then for not just in the family, but people that were associated with the family too. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you see that as much with the newer stuff. Not really. I mean, other than Draven doing the watch parties for AEW, you don't see that as much.
No,
remember the Nitro parties every week?
Yes, dude.
Real quick. I want to parlay off what Tommy said because mine is almost the opposite. My mom was never a wrestling fan. Swear to God, true story, because it's one of the most iconic moments in the Attitude Era as well. The Raw was on where Steve Austin, I think it was the night after Kane and Undertaker pinned him for the title, and he drove out on the Zamboni and jumped over the security guards and started beating Vince's ass. Yep. I swear, I didn't even know I'm just sitting there watching wrestling alone. He jumps over jumps off the Zamboni over the guards, and as soon as he starts laying into Vince, I just hear "yes" in my mom's voice, and I turn around and she's glued to the fucking TV.
That's awesome.
That's because everybody wants to see the boss get what's coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. My mom's like cheering and standing there just wide-eyed at that. I'm like, oh, you're in the room.
Here's a question. Did your mom like 9 to 5 too?
Mine did with Dolly Parton. Yep.
Probably, but I can't say I can't accuse her of ever seeing her watch it, but probably.
I did because my mom owned that VHS. I remember that one as a kid. Dude, my mom got me into wrestling too. I've mentioned that before. She was the one that started me watching it. My dad, he been around it a little bit. He used to go to the Olympia in Detroit and watch the shows back when it was like
awesome.
Dick the Bruiser and them guys and the original Sheik and Bobo Brazil and all those cats. But my mom was the one that turned me on to it. And then like I said, she would record it for me, and she would record all the pay-per-views because we had like the free satellite back in the day. And then as I got older, like I said, I'd fight with my dad over the TV for Monday Night Football or wrestling. And I loved it when he was working out of town, because if I was, before I got my driver's license, I'd be at home watching Nitro and taping Raw in my bedroom or whatever, and I'd watch it with my mom, But that was like our thing. But yeah, and then I started watching the pay-per-views. Like Tommy said, you watch the pay-per-views with your friends, and we take
was beating football.
Yeah, me and my dad used to watch it together. He'd be in one room and I'd be in another, or like if we got pay-per-views, we would watch it together.
But I mean, that's how huge it was. Monday Night Nitro and Raw, they were beating Monday Night Football.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was an event. Wrestling was an event back then. Like you hung out, like it was something. It's like geek culture. It became acceptable, mainstream, and cool to like wrestling. Something that's another thing I got picked on for being a fan of, In addition to my Star Wars lunchbox, being a wrestling fan. And talking about wrestling with my friends, I was like, "Oh, you're a nerd. You fucking like wrestling." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
Yeah, man. This is like 3 weeks till we celebrate Benoit, and then who really booked the WWF back in the mid '80s? I know Dusty did most of the NWA, from what I have heard, and then he's like, we saw 9 to 5 in theaters. I was the only one into wrestling in my family, he says.
Oh damn.
So,
yeah, man, like there's nothing better than, let's be honest, we watched the 95 Nitros and Raws. Those were a lot of those were a slog. You would get diamonds in the rough every now and then, but I mean, the metamorphosis we saw both programs make were nothing short of astounding. With each show like upping the ante, based off what the other ones were doing was it. It's something that it'll never be replicated. No matter how hard anyone tries, it'll never be replicated again. You can't do it. That lightning in a bottle doesn't fucking strike twice.
What up, Stephen Walton?
Hail, brother. Hail.
Yeah. Monday was so fucking awesome, dude. You'd wait all day, watch it, and the next day you'd be wrestling with your friends and talking about it and fucking oh man.
Dude, we were out like on the football field, like doing the fucking too sweet and shit like that. Like, I mean, it was like fucking somebody do something and one of us fucking do the outsider's gimmick. Like I was always doing that shit. Like our coaches are fucking like, don't do that shit during a game. I get penalties for doing. I don't care. That it was wrestling. Even it was in the Super Bowl that year. I think it was. I want to say it was the when the Falcons lost to the Broncos in like '98 or '99. They were how they do like the video packages for like the position groups before the game, and they had the Falcons defensive linemen, and they announced all their names, and all of them on the video did the fucking gimmick like that, and all of them like pointing in. It was fucking sweet. I was like, oh shit, I was like, they're doing the NWO shit, they're doing the fucking Scott Hall gimmick. It was just wrestling was so pervasive, and then you started to see teams getting title belts and shit like that, after they'd win their respective championships. It was an amazing time to be a fan, and to watch that taper off like it did. And I want to bring this back to what Tony was talking about with DDP. What they did to him was nothing short of fucking criminal when he went over and made the jump to the Fed.
Oh, man.
You talk about a fucking loss of a golden opportunity to make somebody, and he was no spring chicken at that point. I mean, when he started wrestling, he was 42, I think, around
35. 30. He was 42 when he won the title, or 40. He was 35 when he was a manager, and he was like, I didn't love wrestling. I didn't want to get in wrestling to be a manager, and he started wrestling. Yeah, I think he won the title at 42. I think. Either way, that's an accomplishment. And could you imagine how good WWE would be today if they had a talent in the caliber of DDP?
If they had a talent that was half of him today. I mean, say what you will about WCW, comparatively speaking, then. Look at the stars they made. Look at Scott fucking Steiner. A guy that was a career tag worker. Booker T. I mean, Booker T wouldn't have had the run he did in the Fed had he not had the success in the later years of WCW that he had, and finally got the push that he needed once he split away from Stevie Ray. And I love tag team wrestling. I was a tag team specialist, and it's always been my favorite because I was a huge Road Warriors fan. And, you see teams like that just works and they gel so well together. It resonated with me. So there's so many, and you see guys like that, like I said, Steiner and Booker T are two of the biggest examples from that era. That from WCW. I'm not saying not forgetting like Shawn Michaels and guys like that, but no, I mean, shit. WCW made a lot of people, but there was a lot of missteps made both by the talent themselves and the Fed and handling them during the changeover.
Well, I think most of those corporations made the same damn mistakes as they didn't know what to do with some of this talent when they got it because they were so worried about the guys that were already established, the people that they understood, instead of like, okay, well, let's see what this guy can do. They didn't do that. They were like, yeah, he's not there. And when will he be there if you don't give that person the chance to be there? Instead, they push people like that has a certain look, like when they pushed Goldberg, who was not ready. Like when they pushed Paul White a little bit too early because he really wasn't ready yet either. Like what would have happened if they would have let those talents actually really fully develop? I mean, how much different could it have been? How many athletes would not have gotten injured earlier too?
And you were also dealing, I know, and I didn't mention it, but a lot of the contracts with the bigger stars from WCW during the changeover when they were purchased. A lot of those guys chose to sit home. And I always gave credit to Sting, and admittedly I was never a huge Sting fan, but I always respected the guy because he was there from the days of the fucking the Blade Runners with Warrior, the blonde buzz cut,
what the hell is he, the Dingo Kid or something?
No, Warrior was the Dingo Warrior. Was he the
Warrior,
Dingo Kid? Yeah. Ultimate Warrior was the Dingo Warrior. But yeah, Sting, he was always a WCW guy, NWA guy. And then in 2015, he shows up at WrestleMania, teams with the NWO against DX, and then got injured by Seth Rollins. I mean, it's like a month later. Yeah, you should have fucking just never went there. Yeah. You were the last holdout.
Yeah. You should have been the one guy to never go there because
things should have waited and went right to AEW.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he could have had a good run.
I don't know. I think him going to WWE could have been good if he could have had something stipulated that he could have ended his career with one match against The Undertaker. Because that was the match that he always wanted.
Yep. Him and Undertaker at Mania.
Vince wouldn't do it, and then he put his son-in-law over Sting, which that's the whole reason Sting didn't come over back in the Invasion days is because he saw it's our WWF superstars, and they'd show WCW wrestlers up in the audience watching.
I hated that.
How they treated Booker T, how they treated Paige. And then he finally went 13, 14 years later, and they did the same thing to him.
Yep.
It was
that's what they're doing to Cody now. Like, I know we don't like Cody, but they're literally punishing him for going to that's why he hasn't won the title.
Yeah, that's because he bounced on Vince.
Yeah,
they're gonna put that title on him.
Look, we talk about maybe Cody gave Vince some inside baseball. You don't think he gave Tony Khan some inside baseball?
Mm-hmm.
He's a traitor. I hate to say it, but that dude is a traitor.
I'll tell you what, though. Well, for as much of a Benedict Arnold and a traitor and all that other stuff, I can't stand Cody Rhodes. I legitimately hate him. But
yeah,
you know what? If you're talking about somebody who probably would deserve a belt over the people that they've been putting in that top slot, I would say he probably goes over, as far as I'm concerned, than any of these other people, because Roman Reigns, he doesn't deserve to be a damn champion. Not at all. And Seth Rollins injures too many damn people. So
he's the world champion right now.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve to be there. All the people that he's put out of the damn industry early because of his freaking lame approach to wrestling.
Stifled Finn Balor's career because of injuries.
Oh yeah, he injured Finn Balor shortly after he debuted because
he won the title and he injured.
Yeah,
after that
he almost killed Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When that turnbuckle came off and he buckle bombed him and the Ring of Honor, and Bryan's head was inches away from being impaled on a spike.
Yep.
Okay. Who else laughed when they seen him in that match against Kane and he blew out his knee? Because I'm sorry, I was laughing my ass off when that happened. When he tried to do that, flip over power bomb thing on Kane and blew out his freaking knee. I was dying.
I know I was relieved when Triple H tore his quad back in the day when he just started teaming with Austin as a heel. and he tore his fucking quad. I was so relieved. Like, I did not like Triple H at all back then.
They were the
because he was
two-man.
such a politicker. Like, he was trying. Wrestling was in a boom period, and he was trying to put himself over as the top guy over Austin and The Rock. And it's like, dude, you're not that good. And then he ended up being the top guy after both of them left, and ratings dived.
Yeah.
Like, Hunter wasn't that good. He never was that good. And he called Daniel Bryan a B-plus player, a B-tier player, when it's like, dude, you're the B-tier player. So, I don't know. I was happy when he tore his quad.
No, Triple H was never more than a B-tier player. He wasn't. He was always the bridesmaid, never a bride, and that was because of him. That wasn't because of anybody else. Because honestly, if he could have got himself over, he would have gotten over back then.
And he was a good heel, but I promise you, even today, Austin will be like, "Oh, I wanted to turn heel at WrestleMania 17." No. Triple H was politicking all that. And that's why he teamed with Austin right afterwards with the two-man power trip. So eventually, like all tag teams, they would break up. And at SummerSlam, it would be Austin versus Triple H, with Triple H as the good guy, and the torch would be passed. But then he tore his quad. Then he came back at the next WrestleMania, won the titles from Jericho in a very lackluster main event, and dropped him a month later because no one wanted to see him as the number one babyface. And Triple H didn't have the chops to pull that off.
No, and that's most of the reason why the DX shtick with him and Michaels got over was Shawn Michaels. You know, and when they brought it, do you remember when they brought it back, like in the mid 2000s?
When he was part of the Authority and he was acting anti-Authority.
Yeah. That was just sad at that point.
Yeah.
It was like, what? Yeah, you are the Authority. That's why when he did that Authority gimmick, it was like, okay, this is fitting because this is exactly what you are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Plus, they couldn't, go too over. Like, the first DX was awesome, dude. Shawn Michaels was, rubbing the Canadian flag all over his taint, and they're talking about China's penis, and they couldn't do that when DX came back.
Well, that's like when they brought NWO back, it was, watered down.
Yeah.
You can't get magic in a bottle twice in a row, or lightning in a bottle.
No.
They're like, we got you, Vince, and there's a bunch of rubber duckies in Vince's briefcase. Like, okay, that's not DX.
No, that it was just, it was sad. It was like,
yeah,
it was.
What up, Darren? Like my father before me.
Hey,
what up, another
Darren.
monster?
And hey, another monster, and then they were feuding with the Spirit Squad. I mean, Jesus. I mean, there was some.
That was bad.
That whole gimmick was.
Spirit Squad.
Who did you dislike more, Mercury and Nitro or the Spirit Squad?
I don't like Nitro at all, but probably the Spirit Squad, because at least you had Melina, who you know is willing to put out with Eminem.
Yep.
I would have asked the other one, Shane's crew.
The Mean Street Posse.
Mean Street Posse, yeah.
See, there was a certain irony there. They were almost like we were talking about Can't Hardly Wait earlier, and Seth Green's character. There is a certain irony there. Like, we're the Mean Street Posse, and they're a bunch of preppy white kids. So yeah, they were annoying, but the Spirit Squad was just gay.
And the Mean Street Posse, they fit. It fit that era though. Oddly enough, you know what I mean. Because there was such a mix of characters.
Yeah, and if Rich Kid Shane did have some people he considered thugs from the streets. That's what it would have been, was Joey Gas or whatever, Joey or whatever. The mean
Rodney, Pete Gas, Rodney, and Joey Abs.
Yeah, that would have been what Shane considered badasses with the silver spoon in his mouth. So it was okay. You know, I never took him serious, but the Spirit Squad was just like, what is this on my TV?
Mm-hmm. What up, my sketchbook 340? Hey, Cardinal.
Like, I think I like the Right to Censor more than I like the Spirit Squad.
Oh, I hated the Right to Censor. I hated that when they changed Val Venus, the Godfather.
The Good Father.
Yeah, the Good Father. Spirits, it was Chief Morley.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. My sketchbook. Ziggler was like the Justin Timberlake of the Spirit Squad.
Yep.
Was Reverend Devon in Right to Censor? I can't remember.
No, he was after they broke the Dudley Boys up at brand split.
He got drafted to SmackDown. He brought in Deacon Batista.
Yeah, that's
Testify.
Yep. Oh, my brother. What up, Slasher McSplitter? Hail. The Truth Commission. Holy shit. There's a fucking name I haven't heard in a fucking long time.
Yeah, it's funny, Slasher. I'm watching the old WWF Raws right now, and the Truth Commission, they're hyping them up to like debut on the next episode.
What was that, 97?
Yeah. Dude, my sketchbook says RTC was funny. Bro, Ivory was still bad in that. Like, I liked Ivory, dude.
Oh my God. I always had a thing for her. Since she was Tina Ferrari back in the original Glow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Her and that redhead and the other redhead in Glow, Roxy Astor. She was another one. She was tag team with Tiffany Mellons. They were the Park Avenue Knockouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always thought she was fine.
Yeah.
Have you all seen Devon's kid in NWA? I didn't know he had a kid that was working.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Does Bubba have a kid that he's teaming with? That would be even better.
I don't think so.
Okay. He should form a new Dudley Boys. That'd be funny. Ivory was the only Glow success story. Oh, she was also hot. Yes, she was. I don't think there was any other girls from Glow that really went anywhere. Two boys. They're tag team. Oh, he's got two boys that are working there. All right. Oh, he said kids. I'm sorry. I didn't see it was plural. All right. Kevin Spacey has a kid he's pinning, allegedly. God damn it, manliness.
It's funny.
Oh shit. Steven said earlier they disrespected a lot of the WCW wrestlers. Yeah, we touched on that.
Yeah.
It really pissed me off though, because right at the end you had a lot of fucking young talent that was like, I'm sorry, man. I always liked the Natural Born Thrillers. You had Jindrak, O'Hare, Stasiak, Palumbo, Mike Sanders, Reno, and Johnny the Bull. You had, dude, with Palumbo, O'Hare, Jindrak, and Stasiak, you had some thoroughbreds there. Sanders was a promo guy. Johnny the Bull could work a little bit. You know, he tagged with Vito and the Mamalukes. You had The Perfect Event, which was
just petty.
It was,
Vince
but man,
did to them was fucking petty.
He made them all fucking just the ones that went over, like just, well, was it Jindrak that was supposed to be in Evolution, or was it O'Hare?
Jindrak, but even Jindrak talks about like he was like being really immature at the time. Like they even had pictures of Evolution taken with Mark Jindrak.
Yep.
But he was being like, he wasn't old enough to understand the opportunity he was getting. Here's some pictures of it actually. So they ended up, and then Randy Orton, through I guess peer pressure, was acting up as well when they'd put Jindrak and him together. So they felt like Batista was a little older, probably the better fit.
Yeah, Evolution I liked them.
I did too. And it wasn't just because they had a badass Motorhead.
They were literally just like the Four Horsemen, basically. But they couldn't call them that.
They were okay, but it was during Hunter's Reign of Terror, which was a hard time to watch.
Uh-huh.
I literally, I think I want to say I stopped. I know it was after the invasion, but probably like right before the first Elimination Chamber debuted. That's like probably around when I permanently stopped watching.
Yeah. Good thing I watched Shawn Michaels' Brown Tights.
I vaguely remember that. I watched off and on. Like, I watched more of the pay-per-views than anything back then.
Yeah.
Well, SmackDown was really what was going on then. Like, Raw was just... Every Raw would begin with 30 minutes of Triple H breathing heavily into the mic.
Yep.
Like, fuck. And then they brought Goldberg on, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Here it is. This is the first Elimination Chamber, like Draven mentioned, and Shawn Michaels wore the brown tights. Everyone's like, what the fuck is he?
Yeah, what in the hell? That is the gayest shit ever.
It looks fucking terrible.
I see why
the worst part is
give him shit.
He won his first title since WrestleMania 14 there, so it'll be like forever ingrained in history, the brown tights.
It looks like he's wearing a fucking loincloth over with
between
some, like,
the tights and the hair.
Yeah, with some what is it? Pantyhose.
Yeah, he had a horrible haircut. He's wearing politically correct skin tone pantyhose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's wearing Band-Aid R-tone.
Oh my god. I just there's questionable wardrobe choices for wrestlers. And that haircut too. Like he had like what's her name? Alex Borstein's haircut when she used to play the Asian lady on Mad TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like holy
he looked
shit.
more like Callista Flockhart than Shawn Michaels.
Does that mean he was banging Harrison Ford at the time? And does Vinny know about this?
Yes and yes.
Just making sure. I want to where to go? Where did it chat?
I'll admit that was the beginning of a pretty great run. Like I was sad to see Shawn go the second time.
Yeah. Slasher says O'Hare was a beast. Fuck yeah, that dude was doing moonsaws and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was fucking huge too. Like he was like what, like 6'7"? Like he was a big motherfucker. He was like Scott Hall size and he was athletic as fuck.
They burnt through more talent in that time when they could have used him, because that's when WWF started. I had a lot of friends who'd watch every Monday, and after, and around the invasion time, they stopped watching. They were just like, it's not really good. They turned Austin heel. And again, like I said, hindsight's 20/20. But if they would have, because as soon as the invasion angle ended, that's when Flair came in, Hogan came in. What they should have done was, that's right, we bought WCW, folks, and you'd have Jindrak debut and O'Hare, and maybe even think about doing a brand split or whatever, and position these former smaller WCW stars that you got right away, position them on the card, and then, because they're like, well, we don't know if we're getting Flair or Hogan. Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. Of course you're going to get them. They're addicted to the spotlight. Of course they're going to come over. And, Flair needed the money, whatever. Then as you start getting them in there, then reveal the plan. A year long to fucking build up, and all these WCW stars who've become WWF stars were actually like sleeper agents almost, and fucking boom, and just iron grasp on the WWF and make it really feel like
in a
they've
legit
got
invasion
Vince by the balls. Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
that's what they should have done.
And that right there is when you could have. You talked about a brand split. You could have turned the Friday night show into Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You could add your Monday Night Raw, your Friday Nitro, and then you have them come together on pay-per-views.
Yeah, yep. And man, because they took Stone Cold Steve Austin and made him the head of WCW, when really the Monday Night Wars was the NWO versus Steve Austin. Like, that's stupid. It makes no sense.
They should have waited till they had everybody. Had like the NWO be like the leader of WCW and shit like that, and have them like be, do it that way. Because that was like your strong leaders. Like even Flair was like
see, I would have brought
or
I would have
even
had
Sting.
I would have had. That's what I was gonna say. I would have had Sting be the leader of WCW because if you think about it, there was really nobody. You didn't have Luger. Luger was never coming back. Vince was never gonna hire him again. It was Sting.
Flair was WCW.
It could have been Flair and Sting at the forefront of the WCW side. Yeah. They were together once in the Horsemen. You know, they worked their last match on Nitro and showed each other they hugged after the match.
Yep.
They had it was nothing but respect. So that would have worked.
Yep.
And you could have brought Hogan, Nash, and Holland as a complete wild card to just throw everything off for the fucking invasion. You never know who they're going to attack or what's going to happen. Man.
Well, there's something else. There's something else in there that could have been really interesting too. By the time they would have if they would have kept it almost like a separate brand, by the time they got around to doing the draft shit, it would have been more meaningful instead of just switching to one show to the other.
Yep.
Now you're technically switching in between brands and you're changing the dynamic of all the matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, think about that. WCW when they were bought out, they had a roster of like 160 to 175 people. I mean, there was times where they carried over 190 on their roster, maybe close to 200. I've never seen those numbers, but I've seen 192, I think, and I showed you guys those.
You could have even had Sting doing the rafters thing too, and have him come down with the harness and everything every now and then, like he was when they were building up the NWO and him facing them.
Yeah. There's superfan Adam Gashan. Yeah, so there was limitless potential for like a draft.
Yeah.
And like Tommy said, to make it meaningful.
Imagine a WWF wrestler having to go over to SmackDown and wrestle, and it's like their turf, and man, like almost made it like a Bret Hart USA Canada thing if they were able to pull that off, where it's like a Raw wrestler on SmackDown would be getting booed, just man. But all they had to do was take their time and not rush it, and for Vince not to be petty. And that could have ended up being just fantastic. And you could have chosen your side. Like, maybe DDP is getting cheered over on SmackDown, but on Raw he's getting booed. Or I don't know, something. Yeah. They could have figured something. It's hard to do that because you change cities with each show, but
yeah, but the fans are gonna follow, and we know that from the Attitude Era. It really didn't matter which city they were in. They were Austin fans. They were Austin fans in that city. And that's the dynamic though. Is they were planning a WCW show.
I mean, they could have taken SmackDown like to the more WCW centric areas in the South and done Raw in the more modern or more like WWE territory kind of.
It would have been huge.
Well, you know what else they could have added to? Now, this is just looking from the outside perspective. So when they wound up relaunching ECW, now imagine if you've got that pool of WCW talent that you could pull from instead of just like whoever you could manage to pick up to throw in the new rebranded ECW. If you could have brought some really interesting talent over there, they might have been able to keep that brand going instead of watching it die within a few years of them relaunching it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I remember when they brought ECW back after One Night Stand, because I got One Night Stand and I was like, because I was, like I said, man, I was a huge ECW fan.
We'll turn it to Sunday Night Heat, god damn it.
And yeah, they completely fucking, when the first match they ever had was the Sandman versus the Zombie. I mean, I was like, oh, fuck, you know, and we were talking about WCW, and I'm going to grab something here from the back of the office, but I want to share the screen first.
That's actually where Don Fallis, where I first saw him.
Yeah.
He was like the general manager of ECW or something.
He was the network representative from TNN.
Yeah.
Yep. Here's something that was supposed to happen after Bischoff and them shut down WCW and relaunched it.
Versus the Zombie. Yeah, that was going to be here in Las Vegas at the Hard Rock.
The Big Bang.
Yeah. That would have been fucking dope, because WCW in Vegas always kind of had a special relationship. The first rebranded Nitro was here. All the Halloween Havocs were here, generally. WWF didn't come around too much back then. They would, but not that much. Not as much as they do now.
Right. They only keep Notre Dame here. Notre Dame. That was it. Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise,
there's
you had to
a lot
go
of
like
places.
Chicago or Indianapolis.
There's a lot of places that I watch in 1997, the older Raws, that they don't go to no more. And I'm kind of like, man, sometimes it feels good when you don't go to one of the premier cities and really go to the heartland of America, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Vince.
Fuck Aaron Presley.
Yeah. They used to go.
At least AEW does like sort of the same territories as WCW used to, for the most part.
I was looking for. I have the wrestling magazine that had that fucking flyer in it. I'm trying to find it. That's what I was rooting through the shelf back there.
The Palace at Auburn Hills.
Right.
Oh, dude. They had World War III. I didn't get to go. I never made it to a WCW pay-per-view. I was at, like I said, it was like 4 Nitros, a couple Thunders, and then a bunch of fucking house shows.
I never got to go to a Thunder. I know they did a Thunder out here once or twice, but
I
went to the house show when the big show was the Giant, and he was fucking with Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Like, do you remember that when it was happening on the TV all the time? It was big show. It was that time frame that I went to one of the house shows, so I got to see their routine at a house show, and it was great. But damn, he's a big mofo.
Those WCW house shows were rare too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to go to a house show either.
It was up in Michigan when I went. I just can't remember where.
It was probably in Kalamazoo. They used to go. WCW used to go there.
You know what? Kalamazoo. Yeah, I think it was in Kalamazoo. Thank you, Etep. I figure you'd remember more. So that's kind of
My sketchbook. The thing is, not only did Jade Cargill lose, but she lost to George Zimmerman.
She lost to Chris Statlander.
Yeah, but she's kind of a nobody to most of us.
I don't think she's a nobody.
Well, she was pretty big, like in AEW, like a year ago, but she has been gone for a while.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Taya. I almost said Tony Storm. Taya Valkyrie deserved to win the title.
If she was gonna have the win, let Jade beat another nobody, and then have the 60, and then I love Jade, but like I said in my review, I said it. She needs to go
and learn now. This is make or break now that she doesn't have the title. This is going to determine what the rest of her career is going to be. Now that she doesn't have that title anymore,
hopefully,
she's going to work and
taking a break
perfect
from what
herself.
she was saying. So
she needs to, man, because we were watching her beat fucking local people that couldn't even run the ropes.
Yep.
You know, and add numbers like Goldberg, and then she Goldberged it. I mean, literally.
Yep.
Oh, girl does the finisher on her. She doesn't sell it. Gets up, does the finisher on her after having her ass whooped for minutes, and then she gets the win.
Well, yeah, you got Taya carried her the whole freaking match. And then,
yes, she did.
Oh my God, like the fact that okay, Taya's doing this for you. She's letting you go over on her, and she already had to know ahead of time that she was going to outwork her in that ring, and she was going to carry the damn match. And then it's just like, like really, like it's just sell shit, and you need to go.
I blame Tony Khan. He didn't put her in the ring with many names during that win streak.
No,
it was like she wrestled Nyla Rose and a few others, but it's like by the time she's at 60-0, Jade should have a list of names behind her that she's defeated. Because again, you're only going to be as good as the best person you're wrestling against. And when it's a bunch of local talent or people who are just signed and on their way up, like you're not going to learn anything from them.
No,
she should have been in the ring with people she could learn from. So it's like, I'm not huge on Jade, but fuck, that's Tony Khan's fault. Like, put her in the ring with someone who can teach her. Put her in the ring with Serena Deeb, someone who's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, and they never did that. They never they didn't.
And where the
Tony
hell has
didn't-
Serena Deeb been?
Yeah,
like where the fuck has she been ever since? I'm trying to think. She had a title match against somebody. Maybe it was. No, it wasn't her. She had a match against somebody. And then fucking that was it. Like she hasn't been around since.
Wasn't it a Ring of Honor?
It might have been.
I can't remember.
I think it was. It was on one of the Ring.
It might have been her versus Mercedes.
Was it?
It was on one of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views. I think maybe before Athena had
that,
the
or she challenged Toni Storm when she had the title. I think.
It might have been Toni Storm that beat her. Yeah, because she hit her with a top rope pile driver or something.
Yeah,
it was a bigger move. I want to say because I just came across the video.
It was the same Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I think the last time we saw Serena Deeb was as FTR versus the Briscoes. I think
you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah. Silicon Dave says he watched the last WCW in Panama City from the hotel balcony. That would have been fucking amazing, dude. Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, to see Flair and Sting. And do you guys remember Flair wrestled that in a T-shirt because he was so out of shape?
Fat and flabby.
Yep. He was so out of shape.
He had
Taya
been
should have
off
won
TV
base
for a while and came back just because it was
based on cup size.
Well, they remember once they axed that Magnificent Seven angle, he was done. Because that's the last angle he was in. You remember the Magnificent Seven? It was like Flair, Steiner.
I'm not talking because I gave myself brain freeze.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. And yeah, when he was out of that angle, he was off TV. He was done. But yeah, there was a lot of fuck up. Yeah, Jade needs a ton of work.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully she goes into Japan and then gets built up some more and actually fights competent people that can teach her and comes back better than ever.
Lose the attitude.
Yeah.
Yep. Silicon Dave says, I met Flair and DDP later that night at the club. I somehow drank my way into the VIP area. Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. My ex was my ex, her cousin was kind of a ring rat. She was living in Florida at the time, so she allegedly had fooled around with Chris Jericho, and she said his thing was he'd like to lay in bed and watch Green Acres. And she also had a thing with Raven, and mentioned he just went on these deep philosophical fucking like rants. I'm like that sounds like Raven, honestly.
What
like
about
if you
me? What about Raven?
listen to Scott Levy talk, but I just thought it was funny, and she talked about like some of the other guy. It's kind of funny, like, because you hear these stories, like, and then you hear about ring rats, like, you are a fucking dirty ass ring rat, like, holy shit. Like, and I wasn't even in the business when I was hearing, some of these stories. It was funny. I was thinking about that because I was watching one of those RF shoot videos with like where they were picking out like where it was like Nash and the guy, I can't remember the host name, but it was like, is she a ring rat or not? It just made me think of that story about the ex's
I guess
cousin.
I'm gonna have to ask what everybody's thinking on the panel and in the chat. Who was bigger, Raven or Jericho?
Jericho.
How did you know that so definitively?
I know. That's a very divisive answer.
I heard he put stilts in the condom.
Goddamn.
It's stuffed with Canadian bacon.
Thought he just used the armbar. Armbar.
It was supposed to be a joke that made everyone say ew. I didn't want to hear an actual answer.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Tony.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yes.
Right? Who has the bigger bratwurst? The answer is always inevitably Alex Wright.
See, I was thinking which one gave her the worst STD.
Well, Raven wore a leather condom, so
It was rawhide. That's a double entendre, folks. Wait. Jericho's the step up from the Downs chicks, though. Maybe.
God damn it.
Kind of got a point.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I mean, if you're going to be gay, I guess going gay with Jericho would be the way to go, right?
With his caved-in chest.
This was pre-caved-in chest, though, Draven. Where does I guess the bigger question is, we're all thinking, where does Draven extract the blood from?
God damn it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
You're welcome.
Tommy's like, why did I could be sleeping right now? I could be playing with the battle bots instead of hearing about
even the
Jericho's
pigs, even the pigs are looking at this screen, giving the stink eye at this point.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
We're kicking it off big here at the channel. Shit. I mean, what better note to take it home on than the thought of a vampire filleting a Canadian wrestler?
That's fucked up.
That's so Draven.
That's Jesus.
That's so Draven.
Oh, fuck me.
Man, that's the best part about the Monday Night War, Silicon Dave. It was only Pride Weekend back then. And they said, we deserve the whole month, and for some reason, crazy people went along with it. So, it's nice we just had Memorial Day. Now, we're at what's important is that people who prefer butt sex, happy month of remembrance. So, yeah.
They get a whole month, right?
I didn't think we were allowed to have pride anymore, remember? I thought that was against the law to have any kind of pride.
Only the correct kind, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, so only the commie way. I got you. Okay.
Yes, approved pride.
Okay.
Just approved. It's
The
got
flavor
to be approved,
of the flavor of the month.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Speaking of which, I need sleep. Thank you, everybody. Scrambles, Manliness and Motivation, Silicon Dave, My Sketchbook 340, Keely Chow, Another Monster, Slasher, McSplitter, Darren Like My Father Before Me, author Stephen Walton, Parrot Head, Glinzer, JB, Tina Bojan, Brutal Morningwood, still the best name on YouTube, St. Floyd of Fentanyl. Thank you. Eric Louderback, a.k.a. Coach Loudy, Action Man Gaming. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you guys and gals being here this evening, hanging out with us for this impromptu Tuesday stream. People who charge headfirst into battle get a day. People who charge headfirst into another people's heinies get a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Peace, another monster. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on tomorrow. We might do a morning show, but we have Holy Shit News tomorrow night. Thursday, I'll be on Black Angus. Friday, I'll be watching wrestling. And Saturday, we have Saturday night's main event back. And are we playing Mario Kart this Saturday night?
Yes.
Mario Kart it is then. Saturday night after the main event. Anybody have anything else? Any business?
Yeah, Tony, don't leave after the end of the stream. I got questions about Switches.
Yeah, I'm streaming Jedi Fallen Order right now, so after this, you can hop over there.
I don't know if you want to discuss Switches in the back room when Draven's there.
God damn it.
He's too busy thinking about Canadian, but never mind.
Double D bacon.
Oh God, we love you, Draven. Look at he's just over here right now. He is. He's got the fucking.
Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
That was down.
Motherfucker. You just wait till we see each other again.
August. Oh shit. So yeah, we will we will see you guys very, very soon, probably tomorrow morning for a morning show. That's it. Anybody else? Tommy, you guys are doing the show Thursday night, right?
Yeah. Vinny and I should be doing a toy stream on his channel on Thursday. I'm not exactly sure what topics are yet because my lazy ass hasn't had a chance to record anything yet.
Well, that's it, gang. Everybody's links are in the description. I'm Etep Wakuian from The Place to Be Reviews. We've been here with all of you. If we don't see you, have a great day. A pleasant tomorrow. We'll leave you with WDIV4 from Detroit, Michigan. We are Detroit, 1979.
The country you grew up in no longer exists.
Yeah, I know, right?
No.
Out.
This used to be fucking Detroit, baby.
Yes, remember all the automobiles?
Yep, when it was a flourishing fucking city.
I haven't been in the woods all day.